Awesome. Well, thank you to TMC for hosting us and letting us kind of come on and do this presentation for everyone. I'm Noah Doran. I'm our customer success guy here for the Rule Tool. So I'll help out here with this little demo showing you our tech. This is Lori Shaw, who's our kind of head of legal here. And we're here to show you the tech and answer any questions you have. Anything else, Lori, before we get started?
No, I think Tony's going to do a little intro and then we'll get started.
All right.
Yeah, I see people are kind of filing in. So thank you guys all for being here on TMC Connect today. Like Noah was saying, we have the Rule Tool with us, and they are going to talk about an underwriter in your pocket. That's a great place to have one. So they're going to talk to us about all things Rule Tool. If you have any questions, just know that this is a webinar, so you will need to use the chat or the Q&A function. Please drop those in because we want it to be engaging. We appreciate all of your questions, so feel free to drop those into the chat, and I will address those with Lori and Noah after their presentation. And as a follow-up to this call, we will have an email that goes out tomorrow that will have a link to the video for the call as well. So I'm Tony Bramley. I'm the Business Development Coordinator here at TMC. So thank you very much for being here and very much appreciate it. And with that, Noah, I will turn it back over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tony. I'm going to jump ahead there with those intros. We'll just go ahead and dive right in.
That's all right.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Just let me know if we have any issues there, Tony. It looks like we're good. So the Rule Tool, as Tony had kind of presented to you, it's a underwriter in your pocket. The idea is, kind of one of the issues that we saw with the mortgage industry is it was always a struggle for loan officers and the rest of the team to be able to quickly find guidelines and compare guidelines between Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, all of the government programs, as well as the investors. So it's always been a little bit of a challenge. Some of the agencies now have better methods for finding guidelines, and others don't, right? So it kind of runs the gamut for how easy it is to find guidelines. Mm-hmm. What we've done here with the Rule Tool is kind of turn this into a one-stop shop. With one login, you can come in to a Google-like search and just simply select what agency that your loan is targeting, whether it be an FHA loan, a Freddie Mac loan, Fannie, non-conforming jumbo loan, a USDA or VA loan. Or you can select more than one.
Yep. And I think what we try to do with the Rule Tool here is take what the agencies and the government programs were saying and really put it into verbiage that people understand. I mean, coming from the legal department, I don't even want to read legalese all day long, so why do your sales teams? And so we've tried to take those agency and government guidelines and just put them into easy to understand language. We've also put tips and notes from the industry. We work with expert underwriters who will tell us, basically just tell your team to provide this document, and this document, and that's what we put in the Rule Tool for you.
Awesome. So hopping back in, before we actually do a couple searches to kind of show you the heart and soul of the Rule Tool, I just wanted to point out and highlight a couple of other features that are very cool as well that you may find use for. The first is the deal scenario chat room over in the top left. This is an area where all of the users of the Rule Tool can come in and post a question to other mortgage pros. So it's not monitored, by underwriters, but this is an area where you can get some cool chats going with other pros who do mortgages. And we see this starting to really pick up some steam. So if you click on that little button right here, it's going to pull up a new window. You can then post your scenario here. Maybe you have something that's a little bit of a gray area that you would like some thoughts on. You can post in this box, and then below you'll see all the previous questions from other users. And then you can feel free to go ahead and chime in with a reply if you know the answer or just want to comment, like a reply. It's pretty cool, and it's a great place to go in and get some thoughts on maybe unique loans and unique structuring situations. If you have something where you need to get a hold of our actual team here, you can just simply use that support email if you need to email the actual credit experts. But again, a lot of users in here and using this feature as well. Then we can simply X out when we're done. The next piece down, sort of just below our little deal scenario chat room, is the recent changes area. And this area can be a game changer if you have somebody who runs kind of your deal desk or underwriting desk. They can now kind of come in here and see, okay, have we had any recent lender letters? Have we had any updates from investors? And it's really going to save a lot of time because we're going to aggregate all those changes, letters, VA circulars into one area that they can then review. So let's say, just for example, the Fannie Mae lender letter that came out on February 2nd last week, that's going to be posted, and then you can click on it, read up on those changes, familiarize yourself, and then just exit out, hop back to the rule tool when you're done.
Mm-hmm. What we've also incorporated is sending out announcements to our rule tool users. So not only are we posting here in the homepage for you that there's been a change, but we're actually letting you know now that the agency or the government guideline has been updated, and we'll send you links right to the rule tool website as well.
Awesome. So yeah, a lot of us work out of our emails all day. I mean, that's part of the reality of being an LO. So we thought that'd be a value as well, send you that kind of that summary email page, and you can get those quick hit important points and get back to your day. We also will let you know if we have investor overlay updates as well. So we work with quite a few investors to post their overlays to the rule tool, which we'll look at a little bit later. But we'll let you know right down below if there have been any updates to investors directly with their overlays. All right, so with that said, I think Tony's going to put a little question out to the group, and we'll do a couple searches as we wait to see if we have any feedback on the question. It was simply just kind of, what are you using now to find guidelines? What we see with a lot of our clients would be hunting and pecking through Google, maybe using like the Fannie, Freddie websites themselves, or relying on a deal desk person. So I wanted to throw that out to the group if anyone has anything they would like to share. And then Tony, just go ahead and chime in if we get anything back there.
Yeah, we've got an Ask Polly and the Freddie website. You guys thank you, Marla, for dropping that in. Anybody else want to drop in what they're currently using to keep up with their investor guidelines? One of the other things, Noah, that we were talking about ahead of time were, what issues are you guys hearing from your clients about when they're not using the rule tool? What other issues do you find about them being able to keep up with all of the changes?
It's a great question. I think the biggest issue is just the sheer amount of information that you have to go through to sometimes find your answer. I think that, a lot of times people get caught in a kind of a, a rabbit hole, of guidelines, especially with, the FHA, VA side, Freddie. Fannie's website has improved a lot with Ask Polly the last couple of years, but it's so easy to go down a rabbit hole trying to find your answer. And then two, can you rely on that answer? Is it up to date? And you know that it's accurate. So with the rule tool, we have made it a lot easier to get what you're looking for. We give you peace of mind that we've done the work to ensure accuracy and that it's up to date. So it's a peace of mind thing and really a speed and efficiency piece as well. I think those are the kind of the biggest issues and value add that we can provide. Anything else there, Lori?
We've got a candor came in. We've also got 4,000.1 and 3555 and the VA handbooks. We've got deal desks and in-house guidelines in the LOS.
Got it. Yep. So the LOS kind of guiding you with just eligibility. That does help a little bit. VA handbook directly. Well, let's get into it. So let's start with a VA. Actually, we'll start with Fannie. We'll go with the most basic right up front here. And one thing that changed recently is self-employed guidelines. So we were all over this. I know everyone is kind of rejoicing that the self-employed guidelines have switched back to pre-COVID. So if we simply select Fannie Mae and then search self-employed, the one at the top is always going to be the best, most accurate kind of return for your keyword. So you can see self-employed income came right up at the top. A couple of other sections also referenced self-employed. So for example, business debt and borrower's name or business tax returns, you can see highlighted they have the keyword. So we will pop up with a couple, sometimes with a couple of search results based on that keyword, but we do an awesome job of always prioritizing what we think is the best result at the top, and it makes it easier to get to what you need to see. So this one's a little bit of a lengthier rule than most, just due to all the different changes we had due to the pandemic the last 2 years. So you have the standard rule up top, standard, continuity and stability of income ruling. You have the caveats for 25% ownership, 1099 income. So we've really taken and condensed down all these self-employed guidelines into the most key factors in a really digestible and readable format like Lori had kind of presented earlier. But then most importantly, we're updating you with the most recent guidelines. So pre-2020 tax returns, we still need, all those COVID rules where you have to get a P&L and business bank statements. If we're using 2020 and 2021 tax returns, we're kind of off the hook with those additional guidelines. So just another example of a way that this is going to keep you up to date with the new guidelines.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, until about last week, that still said COVID-19 guidance. So like Noah said, we were updating all of the rules with the COVID guidance, and this rule remained unchanged for the last about 2 years. So this was the first update that we made. But not only that, you can see below these agency source reference. So we're letting you know exactly where we got these updates, so that if you ever want to check us or just verify that we actually updated the information correctly, we provided those sources right there for you as well.
Awesome. So if you want to go to the source, you can click that link and it will just take you right there. Another feature that I wanted to point out within the search before we do a couple other searches is the little print functionality. It's kind of an underrated little feature. If you're an LO, for example, and you want to show your underwriter, hey, I'm referencing this rule, you can go ahead and hit the print button, and it's going to give you a nice PDF readable version of the guideline that you can then print as a PDF. Or my company, we have an imaging system where you can just go ahead and print direct to imaging. So you have a couple options there, but it gives you a nice PDF readable version of the guideline that you can then show to underwriting or drop in your file, whatever you need to do.
Another nice feature, and I might be jumping ahead here a little bit, is that self-employed income, that yellow box up there. You can see all of the other sub-keywords that might bring you to this rule as well. We know that there's, an abbreviation for everything, and there are phrases for everything in the mortgage industry. So we actually take what you are typing into the main page search tab and incorporate that into the rules that you're looking for. So these are constantly being updated, but you can see why this might have pulled up for the other searches, just based on what the sub-keywords are here.
That's a great tip. So this is something that we're constantly updating here, is these keywords. So if anyone says, hey, I wasn't able to find this, I was searching this rule, we'll update it in here with that keyword just to continue to make it easier to find stuff.
And I know we said we would keep the questions until the end, and I don't want to mess up your presentation, but these were two really good questions that I thought you guys might want to address right here up front. So one of them is, how do the searches work, which is what you guys are going through. But Marla's question was that, how does it differ from all regs, basically, because she finds all regs cumbersome. So if you could talk a little bit about how the logic behind your searches work so that she doesn't have to dig through 50 different items. And then the other question, follow-up to that was, does the rule tool interface with the LOS system to print to the LOS?
So I'll take on the all regs question. It's an amazing question. Nothing against all regs. I think they provide a great tool as well. Where we're kind of different, I think that whoever had asked that question almost laid it out a little bit, right? We're simplifying this. We're a one-stop shop that is not only the one-stop shop, but we're also doing a lot of hard work behind the scenes to make all of these guidelines condensed and readable and also easy to find. So part of that advanced keyword search, where we're going to prioritize the best search, that's based on our search history and what our users are searching the most, and as well feedback from them on the keywords. So it's really just been a lot of hard work on our part to make sure we have that in place so that you get the best result up front, and then we are re-articulating the rule down. With all regs, it's really just direct out of whatever the handbooks are. There's no really reverbaging it, according to what I know. I don't know if reverbage is even a word, but it is now.
It is now.
So that's really the difference. And for anyone who's really curious, I would just say, maybe give it a try, and compare and contrast the two and see which works better for you. Lori, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I know that I was on a demo a couple months ago, and I don't remember the keyword that was searched, but it was a FHA, and I think it might have been bankruptcy. And the company told me they spent over an hour in Ulrichs trying to find the right rule to tell them, I think it was like how many months maybe from a bankruptcy till you can refinance or get a new mortgage. And I was able to pull up the rule in 30 seconds. And I'm saying 30 seconds because I was talking to them during that search and I got distracted. But it's just as simple as that. It really does work like Google, so that whatever is on your mind, whether it's a keyword or a phrase, you simply select your agency and you type it into the inner keyword in step 3, which is really step 2 if you skip over our keyword master list. And then I think the next question was, does it interact with the LOS in the print function? Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, Tony, I'm not
Yes,
100%
that's
sure.
correct. Yeah, does the
Okay,
rule tool interface with the LOS systems to print to the LOS?
So the rule tool can be incorporated into your LOS as an API, where you can access it right there from your loan origination system. I don't know if the keywords would filter back into the LOS, but like Noah showed, if you have an imaging system like XDoc, for example, you can print right to that system.
I think that was the question.
But yeah, please clarify
Yeah.
if I'm misunderstanding, because I'm not techie by any means.
No worries. And Marla, if you'd like to request to be removed from mute, then if we haven't answered your question sufficiently, please feel free to do so, and you can ask a follow-up. Thank you very much. Do we have the ability to test the rule tool and see if we find that it's a good resource for us?
Absolutely. We're always interested in giving people free trials, whether it's just for a couple users. We're more than happy to give you a test account so that you can see how our system works, and hopefully that it's a lot easier and time-saving for you.
We all caught up there, Tony?
Great, thank you. Yes.
Great. All right, I'm going to do one other really simple search here. Student loans are one is constantly one of the most searched terms. So FHA, let's real quick find out if somebody has, student loans in forbearance, what can we count against them in terms of the payment? So this changes all the time. Just simply type student loans in the keyword box. Somebody had asked how the searches work again, so let me just walk through this. You're going to select your agency, or even more than one. So let's select FHA and VA. Not that you compare those two typically, but you know what, let's go Fannie and FHA. And then you can either go to your keyword master list or just type in what you want to search.
Let's show the keyword master list.
Yeah, so maybe we're not sure what to type in, right? This happens all the time. So we have aggregated all of our different rules into 4 subcategories to make it easy to find or maybe jog your memory. Assets and down payment, credit, income, and then property. So kind of all aspects of your application. You can click in and then see what topics do we house in that subcategory, and then simply click on them to access and then search. So super easy and helpful if you're, getting old and the memory's not as what it once was, like all of us.
I think we could all have that.
Yeah. So we'll type in student loans here. I selected FHA and Fannie, and then we're going to hit search. So this is going to come up just a little bit differently because we selected 2 different agencies. So here's FHA. Here's the best return for that one, student loans and deferred monthly obligations. And then Fannie Mae right at the top, student loans and deferred monthly obligations. So you can kind of look at both rules, and then whichever one we want to review in more depth, we're going to click on it first. So here's the Fannie, or the FHA rule, I should say. And then you see here, 0.5% of the loan balance when the monthly payment reported on the credit report is 0. So we got our answer. A lot of times there will be tips, for example, the documentation tip area that will give you an idea of what do we need to get to document this guideline. And then down below, like we talked about earlier, we have the sources where we source the information on this screen, FHA handbook, FHA mortgage letters, et cetera. hitting the search results button, let's say we want to quickly toggle between FHA and Fannie to compare which one's maybe more favorable for our borrower with student loan issues. I can hit search results, and then all of the original searches are going to pop up right here, and then I can just say, oh, let's take a look at the Fannie Mae one from the original results. Let me just move my Zoom thing over. And then here's the Fannie Mae rule. So you can see the standard rule. We even have a caveat for the special student loan cash out refinance rule, where you can get pricing like a rate and term. If you guys don't know that, look it up. It's pretty cool. But here you can see 1% of the outstanding balance with a 0 payment reported on credit, and you can easily compare that with your FHA. From here, Start New Search will pull you back to your landing page. But before we hop back to our landing page, there's 2 other things I want to show. And these are going to pop up in each and every search. You have 2 additional drop-downs up above the agency one that will default to being open. The first one is the investor overlay drop-down. So this is going to just show all of these different companies that we currently will support in the rule tool. And we're pretty flexible with this as well. If you have an investor you want to work with that's not on the rule tool and they're willing to provide their docs to us to get them uploaded, it's not too hard for us to do that.
No, that process is super simple. Your company would just give us access through the investor to pull down the overlays for you, and then we add it to our rotation. So you're not having someone in your company constantly sending the rule tool support all these overlays and updates and, you know, questioning whether or not we have the most current overlay in the rule tool. We're actually already pulling that for you. So it's a simple add. You know, we've also gotten requests to add company overlays, which we've been happy to support. So as long as we just maintain that you're the only one that can access that investor, you're the only one that sees that, and, you know, so far we haven't had any problems.
Awesome. And we also can edit this to kind of customize it to your company as well. By that I mean we can hide the companies you don't work with, so you just see the investors that are relevant to your loan officers. Or some companies may just have a homogenized Fannie Mae product that they don't price to an investor, in which case we can hide all of them.
One thing to note on hiding the investors, we do have some companies who have set up what we refer to as branches within their company organization. So maybe you don't want to give all of your loan officers access to the overlays, maybe only your underwriters or your corporate processors have access. We can create subgroups for you where they're the only ones that get access to the investors, and the rest of your users are just accessing the Fannie Mae, the conventional agency guidelines.
All right, the next piece here is this drop-down bond investor overlay. So we're continuing to build this out, but right now we've got about 10 or 12 bond programs that we maintain their overlays as well. We're based here out of Denver. CHAPA is a very common down payment assistance program here in Colorado. You'll see that here, and we've got, you know, a large handful of various housing programs and down payment assistance programs across the country. And then these are just going to be PDFs as well, most up-to-date, so you can click in and review easily and in one spot. And just hop back to Rule Tool, and when you're done, you can always just hit Start New Search to kind of land yourself back to the page and do your next search. We also have a really good support page. If you're having any problems, any tech issues, you can just hit Contact Us. It's going to take you to our little service queue, and you can put in a ticket requesting a demo, asking Bill questions, suggesting an idea to make us better, requesting that we add a new rule that you're not seeing, and a lot more. So all of that customer service can just be done right through that portal and the Contact Us button. All right, I'll show you VA quickly as well. Tony, do we have any other questions?
No, I was going to, actually, we just did. I'd like to get set up with a test ID. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Marla. We will get Lori's information over to you. So that's great. I just wanted to remind you guys that you guys had a really exciting announcement. I know that we're looking at this on your laptop screen right now, but you did mention that it was an underwriter in your pocket. So wanted to be sure that you were going to talk about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the rule tool is very mobile friendly, so I use it on my smartphone all the time. What you can do is bookmark the website. It works essentially just like an app. Bookmark it to your home screen, and then pull it up, and it's laid out in a way that makes sense in the iPhone too. I mean, it's not like you're on a website that's clearly not meant to be on a phone. Works very well. So bookmark it to your phone, then you have your Underwriter right in your pocket too. You don't even need to be on your computer. So we're on the computer right now, but yeah, any issues with that, you can feel free to reach out and I'll coach you up on getting it added, but super easy.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, whether you're, waiting for your plane to leave, or whether you're at happy hour and your borrower asks you a question, you can have access to whatever answer you need to provide them within just a couple minutes. And I think, that shows a value add to your borrower, it shows a value add to your team, because you know that you can always access the answers that you need without having to wait for your underwriting department to, get back from lunch or come back in for the next day.
I love when borrowers call me during happy hour.
Yeah.
It's just the best. The last thing I wanted to show, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least show one VA search here. So VA, we have fully fleshed out as well. I know VA is notoriously hard to find their guidelines. I think if you do a lot of VA loans, huge value add here. We make it very easy. For example, a joint loan. So a joint loan, as you can see, we don't have any specific area called joint loan. We have a couple right at the top that do reference it. So I can see, okay, my cosigner area is probably where I need to go. And then you can see all the rules for a joint loan, which would be with a veteran and a non-veteran that's not the spouse, right? So that comes up quite a bit on VA. So we fully fleshed VA out as well. I love it for VA and FHA. It's great for Fannie and Freddie as well, but how tough it can be to get through some of these government handbooks. So really good here. And then hitting Start New Search will pull us back out to our landing page. That's all I had. That's my spiel. Anything else from you, Lori?
No, I mean, I think the only thing we didn't really cover is that we do support non-conforming overlays. The searches work just like our standard government and conforming searches. We have right now, I think probably maybe 7 to 10 non-conforming. But again, the process is the same. If we don't have someone that you work with on a regular basis and you want their overlay added or their selling guide added, it's a super easy process. And we usually have it added within about a day of actually getting access to the site. And as you can see, we've tried to kind of regurgitate and reiterate some of the guidelines. We found that they're getting a little hectic, so we're actually working on adding the overlays and selling guides right now as I speak. But you can see it works the same way as the other searches.
Awesome. All right, Tony, anything else from the crowd here?
Well, kind of as a follow-up to Marla, she did send her email over and would like to speak with you guys about getting set up. So that's fantastic. Thank you again for that, Marla. How would someone go about reaching out, and what would be the steps to get started with the Rule tool?
So we have a couple different options. You can email us at support@therulestool.com, or you can email me directly at lshaw@take3tech. Is also a great way to reach me. Tony has my contact information as well if you get the wrong email address there, but we're very reachable.
And if you need further training for your team, you may run into me again as well for demos or training for you and your staff.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much. Well, I'm going to drop their information in the chat here. I'm trying to do that as I'm talking, and I shouldn't do two things at once. And appreciate it. If there are any other questions, please ask them now. Noah, Lori, thank you guys so much for always bringing great content and for everything that you do with TMC. We really appreciate your partnership. To everyone who joined us today, thank you so much for being on TMC Connect. We have lots and lots of programming on TMC Connect, so please check out our member events calendar. We're updating that on a regular basis, and as a reminder, you will have an email that comes out tomorrow just with the information that's been shared here and a link to a YouTube video that you can go back and watch at your convenience. So thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate your time. Know that everybody is crazy busy, so thank you again for taking time to stop by at TMC Connect. Noah, Lori, thank you guys so much, and I hope everybody has a great rest of your week.
Thank you, Tony, and everyone on.
Thanks. Bye.